and welcome to another episode of Todd Talk. Because when Todd talks, people listen. Hopefully. So, it is the 42nd episode of Todd Talk, and we got a very interesting matchup coming up in Death Battle in a few days. It is Venom versus Bane. Now, I know some people have been not mad, but disappointed that Venom is going up against Bane, but it's interesting for many reasons, not the least of which is apparently a lot of fans have actually requested this death battle. If you watched the most recent death battle cast, you would have heard that, and I'm not surprised actually, because Bane gets a bad name because a lot of him, including Torian, ironically, from the death battle crew, think of him just as like the DC version of Hulk, which is not accurate in the slightest. And because of that, you think that the symbiote is a surefire winner. And I'm not saying that that's my pick yet. You know, you gotta wait till the end. But it's a lot more complicated than that. And a lot of people think, oh well, they picked this because it's Venom versus the venom in Bane's veins. Ooh, that rhymes. I like that. And that's partly true. But the other thing is that Bane is the bane of Batman, and Venom is the bane of Spider-Man. I'm just saying. I am. So let's break these characters down, shall we? Bane. I gotta start with Bane this time because again he gets the biggest bad rap, especially because of the Batman and Robin movie. Let's just move on. All right, Bane was created to be the guy who could break the bat, literally, and that's exactly what he did. He was raised in a prison because his father was a criminal, and he learned to survive. He learned to thrive, and he learned to be the guy that you feared, and he was. And then he got injected with Venom, and he became Bane, true Bane. Now, he had heard about Batman through the various prisoners and realized that this may be his ultimate rival, not the least of which was because he was scared of bats. Ironic. And so he went to Gotham. But this is where it gets interesting, because unlike so many Batman villains, instead of just going straight into the fight and saying, Batman, I demand a match with you, he took a step back and he studied. He studied Batman and what he does, and then he looked at Bruce Wayne, and within seconds, he could tell that he was Batman. Yeah, seconds. Like, seriously, like a panel, he could tell that he was Batman. And this proves the one thing that people forget about Bane. And Bane is intelligent. Okay, look at The Dark Knight Rises. Okay, forget the voice. Okay, although I believe that the voice of Bane was actually rather good. Yes. Anyway, ignore the voice. You'll see that he's an incredibly intelligent individual. That didn't just happen for the film. They didn't just do that because they couldn't use Venom, because Venom wouldn't have made sense in that universe. Bane is incredibly intelligent. He decided to break the bat in the best and most personal way he could. He destroyed Arkham Asylum, releasing a variety of Batman's greatest villains, including Poison Ivy, Zsasz, Ventriloquist, I think even Joker. And Batman had to spend 3 months non-stop to try and get them all back, just because Bane broke them out. And then, only after he had gone through all of this torment, this gauntlet of the Rogues Gallery, Bane went into Wayne Manor, waited for him to get home, and then literally broke the bat in half. Okay, maybe not literally in half, but he broke his freaking back. Okay? This is something that Batman has remembered to this day, and he always hates Bane because he did that. Now, yes, you could argue he came back stronger because that's what Batman does, but he's not to be messed with. And while a lot of stories sadly have depicted him as nothing more than a monster, hyped up on Venom, other stories like The Secret Six, written by the amazing Gail Simone, has depicted him as the strategist again. And that's what you need to remember. This guy is brilliant. He's he's actually classically educated despite being raised in a prison. There was a priest there, ironically. He's multilingual. He has an eidetic memory, and he's a master of many martial arts. Now, not as many as Batman, but much like Batman, he has trained his body to be at the peak of human strength, speed, agility, and endurance, despite him being like a muscly guy. Uh, I was trying to look for another word there. I apologize. But yeah, he's huge, but he's fast, even without the venom. Then you add the venom. Yeah. Yes, he does sometimes lose his sanity depending on how much he uses, but 9 times out of 10, including in the very recent Batman arc uh, by Tom King called "I Am Bane," he he can use Venom without losing any of his sanity, and he hates using Venom. That's the thing that also gets lost here. Yes, he is Bane because he has Venom, but he has long sworn off Venom until like the most recent arc in DC Rebirth, where Batman ironically made him retake the Venom, and Bane got ticked, and it's a long story. Um, so yeah, he's not to be underestimated ever. Batman never underestimates Bane. Okay. And despite what people think, no, it's not as simple as just cutting the venom tubes to weaken him. He's still incredibly strong and incredibly fast and incredibly smart without the venom. Okay. Now, yes, with the venom, he's near unstoppable at times. Okay. He has helped take down and beat various superhumans, including Batman villains like Killer Croc. He's faced numerous Talons. He has, of course, beaten Batman and has fought Batman to stalemates on several occasions and everything. So again, not to be underestimated. Uh, Here's one I personally like in the most recent issue, which I pray they uh, read. I know it's very unlikely, but I pray they read this before deciding the full battle. Mr. Freeze, who is also a genius, encased Bane in a block of ice, like 3 feet thick. Like he pointed the ice freeze gun at him, blasted him, froze himself, and he's recounting how the peak physical condition plus Venom, which he had studied, Mr. Freeze had studied because he was a part of the process or something. Long story. He was recounting how at most he could break out of like 1300 like psi or something of ice that he was encased in. But because he was a genius, Mr. Freeze, he encased him in like 16 or 1700 or something like that. I have to get the issue. It's over there. Block of ice. So Bane should not have been able to break out of it. And he did. And Mr. Freeze is like, that's impossible. He goes, no, that's Bane. Bane has this almost near indomitable will that only very few people have been able to break. And even then, he has come back stronger and smarter and deadlier than ever. Like, I have no idea how this I Am Bane arc is going to end, but if Bane was to lose, which again, I'm not saying he's my pick or anything, if Bane was to lose, I would honestly wonder if this arc could have changed it because of what we're seeing. He went through entire arsenal of Arkham Asylum. Two-Face, Mr. Freeze, I don't think he faced Croc. He faced a lot of other people, though. Firefly, he faced a bunch of Batman villains, and not only lived, he thrived, and only had to use his Venom, like, once. Oh, and by the way, he also beat the crap out of Batman before that issue, which they should have read, and then, yeah. So, Bane is not to be underestimated, not even against a symbiote like Venom, who we shall talk about now. Now, see, Venom is a little more simple to talk about, even though he's had numerous hosts over the years. But he's also very complicated to talk about because in a death battle, who has to die for Bane to get the KO? Let's just say Bane wins. Does he kill the symbiote? Does he kill Eddie Brock, who we know is going to be the host of the symbiote via the preview? It's not really clear because you could kill both. You could kill one and have the symbiote like take over Bane, which would be infinitely scary. But we don't know, so we're gonna have to find out. So Eddie Brock had terrible life. He tried to build himself up, got knocked back down. Evil symbiote comes along, and now he's Venom. That's about all you need to know. Venom itself is a separate intelligent entity, incredibly adaptive. That's a good word for it. Because again, the Venom symbiote has had numerous hosts over the years, both good and evil, and every time the symbiote got a new host, it got like new abilities, it got new advantages to each new host. So that's the thing that's complicated, because if they do the whole maximum potential, in theory, all of the other hosts of the symbiote has had will have the same abilities on Eddie Brock. And yet, I'm not sure that's actually going to be the case. Again, the Venom symbiote is complicated, and yet it's this utterly terrifying thing that you don't want to see it on a bad person, as we're seeing in the comics, like right now with the new host, Lee Price, I think his name was. But with Eddie Brock, it was just as scary. The problem I'm having with Venom, like in terms of him winning, yeah, that's right, is that the symbiote is liquid. And I know that sounds weird, but numerous times, including Infinite Battles of Spider-Man, it's shown to, create hard objects via the liquid. So kind of like the T-1000 Terminator, you know? And that might be a problem for Bane, because Bane is flesh and blood, whereas Venom is essentially a liquid on a host body. Now, that being said, obviously the symbiote can be penetrated, because Venom has lost battles, has died several times, and its hosts have died several times. So it's one of those things where it's very hard to determine what is fatal and what is temporary, because the symbiote is also very, very evil because of very long and complicated story. Watch the preview. Watch the preview. They explain it there. It's very complicated to talk about. Trust me. And usually, I'm never at a loss for words, but with Venom, it's tricky, because he's done so much. He's beaten Spider-Man numerous times, which is something Bane can't say for Batman, and yet it still has weaknesses. It's weak to sonics. It's weak to fire. Obviously, if the host dies, but by whatever means, it has to find a new host to survive. And that's the trick. Can Bane either kill Eddie Brock to make the symbiote leave, or will Venom just simply overwhelm him? Because it's also a test of strength, because the symbiote is incredibly strong. The symbiote has been documented as lifting up to 13 tons. And Bane, despite having numerous conflicting reports, I've found can apparently lift up to 15 tons on Venom. And even without Venom, he can lift well more than he actually should. So who wins? I'm actually struggling here. Like, I honestly did not have a pick coming into this prediction video, because on one hand, I feel that the symbiote should win. I think that it's I can't believe I'm saying this about Bane. I think it's deadlier than Bane. I think it's more adaptable than Bane, and I think that it's harder to kill than Bane. That being said, Bane's Venom gives him an edge in strength, if we go by the 15 to 13 that I found. It can heal him, though it adds to its addictive property. And Bane, I would say, is a better fighter. And I know that may sound odd. Like, wait a minute, Venom beats Spider-Man, so how can he be, a better fighter if he's beating Spider-Man? Well, that's not exactly accurate, because you see, Venom beats Spider-Man because Spider-Man uses his spider sense in fights to win. Because he can, anticipate opponent's moves and, be able to react quickly. Venom doesn't have the spider sense, but he can block it. And because of that, he was often able to take care of Spider-Man. Bane doesn't have a spider sense. Bane is just dang clever. And gosh, this is really hard. I'm sorry, this is really, really hard. I honestly don't know who to pick because Bane is a better fighter. He is a better strategist. But will he have the ability to find out that Venom is weak to fire and weak to sonics? It's really hard to say because, they could play this death battle 1,000 different ways, obviously. But, oh gosh, this is so hard. Do I have a coin that I can flip? I really don't know. See? I'm really struggling with this, ladies and gentlemen. I did not mean for this to go 16 minutes. See, this is like another Scrooge McDuck Shovel Knight situation because I felt that Shovel Knight could win or should win, but then I picked Scrooge McDuck because I felt that there was something I didn't know. With this one, I know enough about both of them, but because of how they're built, I don't know who to pick. That's driving me crazy. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna regret this. I'm totally gonna regret this, but I'm going to pick Venom. I'm gonna pick Venom because I feel that Venom is harder to kill. Venom is I want to pick Bane. I really want to pick Bane. No, screw it. Screw it all. I don't care. I'm picking Bane. I'm picking Bane just because I know there's a bunch of Bane haters out there, and I know that I will take this loss. I will take it in stride because I would be 2-1, which means I'm still better off than I was last year. So yes, I am picking Bane. He is a better fighter. He is a better strategist, and I feel that he will find some way to kill Venom or Eddie Brock or both. But there you go. I'm sorry. I did not mean for this to happen, but I'm picking Bane. My gut literally stopped hurting when I picked Bane, so this must be the right answer. So, yes, I'm picking Bane. Make it so, number one. So, I thank you for enduring that. I do apologize. Usually I do try to have a pick when I get into these prediction videos, but I just couldn't think of one. Because this is a really good matchup. I mean, seriously, look past the puns and the names, and you're going to find a good matchup. And according to the Death Battle guys, this has a really good fight and a really good ending scene. So I'm hoping it ends with Venom dying and Bane going, I am Bane. So, with that, I am ending this. No, I'm ending this 40-second episode of Todd Talk. Do you think that Bane will win? Or do you think that Venom will win it all? Let me know in the comments below. So, I thank you for watching. If you made it this far, I know you're listening. And I will see you around.